and immediately, like I think even before we were done, we were like, okay, so we're signing up for next year, right?
I think if it had been on HBO Max instead of Disney Plus, I think it would have gotten the attention it deserved.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rogue 3 podcast, where we discuss everything Star Wars with a positive outlook on the saga we love. I'm Austin.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Austin.
And today we are going to be doing a look back on Star Wars in 2025. So we're going to be reaching to the very, very beginning of our podcast, which started last year. So this is about our 1 year anniversary. Now, I actually don't remember when we got our first episode out, but
I think March or April, right around the time Andor,
Yep.
a little bit before Andor came out.
A little bit before. Yeah, we're getting close. Either way, we're getting close. It's been about a year and we're still going strong. We had a little break here, but we are excited to be back. How do you guys feel about the year so far?
I think it's been fun. I like getting to talk Star Wars more. I have more of a reason, not that I needed it, to read the books and everything and dive in deeper. I've been, as you guys both know, tracking how much I've completed, and I've read a lot of books this year and rewatched a lot of shows. I finished all of them and then restarted, and so I've been watching Star Wars Rebels. I'm already on season 3, and I started that maybe a week ago. So it's a little bit crazy. I watched 3 or 4 episodes in the morning when I'm making breakfast. So it's been fun.
That's amazing. I love it. I'm kind of right there with you. This has really been giving me the push that I needed to get through some of these books. I'm not an enormous reader, so it's been hard to push through. So this has really given me a reason to push through and read some of this.
Yes, it's been a good year. But I know we wanted to, before we dive into looking back at the year, we wanted to talk about Christmas in relation to Star Wars. I know we all had just got back from our little Christmas podcast break, and I hope Santa Chewbacca brought everybody a little something.
Is Santa a Wookiee?
I presume so.
He's very long-lived.
Yeah.
Yes, he isn't very hairy.
Yeah. I mean, they're a celebratory bunch. You know, they like a holiday.
They are. We learned as a holiday.
He has a nice red jacket robe that he wears.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It makes sense. Why don't we sit with it and see how we feel? But I'm pretty sure he's Santa. All right. Well, let's jump in. Mike, what'd you get for Christmas this year?
Yeah, I didn't get that much Star Wars oriented stuff because I'm pretty much the only Star Wars person in my family. Even when I listed a few things, they took the other things from the list because I think they leave it up to me to buy it. They don't want to buy something and have it be the wrong thing or something like that. But my wife Devin did get me a High Republic sweatshirt, and I actually really love it because I'm not a big wear it out and proud Star Wars fan. I don't do that. This is about as bold of a Star Wars shirt that I'll wear for the most part. So this is the perfect amount of subtle for me.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of very nondescript shirts. So I really, really like this. It's a really good one. I honestly haven't actually worn it yet, but I need to. I just haven't. It's been warm here. It was 70 degrees yesterday.
Yeah,
but that was pretty much the one
with my Slay Queen on, and you're like, I don't want bold t-shirts.
Well, I thought about I should put on my Christmas list next year because t-shirts people will buy those, so I can put Star Wars t-shirts, and I bet I'll be able to get some because they'll be able to look and buy ones that they think they like, and
people also love a link.
Yeah, I gave links, but that didn't always work the way you think. But that's okay. That's okay. What about you guys? What did you get?
Well, my mom did follow the links that I gave her, and she got me the Art of High Republic Volume 2, which was very exciting. I was a big fan of the first volume, and this covers the second and third waves of the High Republic. So it's been neat. I haven't dove too much into it. But I looked at the first probably third or so, and I really enjoyed what I got out of it. Phase 2 was my favorite High Republic phase, so it's cool to see all the art from that.
Nice. So a little bit different than y'all because I got an overwhelming amount of Star Wars stuff for Christmas. So the first gifts of Christmas that I got were from a friend of mine who got me one of these or two of these Star Wars ornaments. and for Christmas. So that was very exciting. These are retro back from the early 2000s. I did get a couple of Star Wars books, Complete Locations. the
Ooh, I
most
want
updated
that.
one.
That was the book on
It
my
is
list.
beautiful. I
Yeah,
love it.
that was the book no one
Terrific.
bought me. So hint, hint,
Sounds like
nudge, nudge.
Use it. You got the Acolyte Visual Dictionary.
Ooh,
Love
nice.
the cover. Love the helmet. Please make a
Mm-hmm.
replica Stranger helmet. I love it. I've got the replica Kylo Ren, and I want the replica Stranger. I know they do the Black Series, but I like the.
Mhm.
I got some Lego. I got the Dark Falcon. If you haven't
Oh, yeah.
watched our breakdown on the Lego Star Wars pieces of the past, check it out. My fiance got me this Jango Fett helmet to put up with my other helmets back there. And then I also have.
And we should say your fiance is on this podcast
Yeah,
because
Yeah, my
last time we
fiance is on this
recorded,
podcast, yeah.
last recording, you guys were not engaged, and now you
Yes.
are.
Now we are engaged.
And
For
I
those
knew
who
that
are
was
not aware.
coming. I was
The
really
Austins are
careful
engaged.
to
Mike
make
was
sure
the-
that I didn't
Mike was present.
reveal anything.
Yes,
Um,
all three members of the podcast were present at our engagement.
Yeah.
And then the crowning jewel of my Christmas haul is this Padme headdress. If you don't recognize it, she wears it when she goes back to Naboo and Attack of the Clones, and reminds us all that popular rule is not democracy. It gives the people what they want, not what they need. So I love this. This is one of those Galaxy Edge Day One pieces that Austin got me. That is just absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to add it to my shelf. So very
And
excited.
for our audio only listeners, you really missed out on a visual treat just there of Austin wearing a beautiful headdress.
It doesn't fit. It's made for someone with a far narrower head, perhaps a Natalie Portman-esque person. Unlike me with my big
Like
fat
a
head.
Kira Knightley.
Perhaps a Keira Knightley-esque
Perhaps a
person,
Keira-
yeah.
Really more like Keira Knightley, I would say. Very Sabe-like, So I had an amazing Christmas haul. So I'm quite pleased with how mine turned out.
I think you're gonna run out of room on your shelves back there.
Yeah, my mom actually also got me this Star Wars sign that I had already bought for myself. She did. She was actually the morning of Christmas before she gave it to me, or it was the morning of Christmas Eve. She was watching one of our TikToks or our Instagram, whatever. And she saw it in the background, and she realized what she had done. So, which was so sweet, and it was so sweet, and I wouldn't have said anything if she didn't notice. It's a nice piece, and you can always have an extra one of those. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Mhm.
she was very sweet. She just gave me the money instead and returned it.
Nice. Yeah, that works.
Love you, mama.
We love a gift receipt.
We do
On this podcast.
On this
we
podcast,
want a
we
gift
do
receipt.
gift receipts. When you're giving a gift to a collector, you gotta have a receipt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Half the time they already have it anyway, which is fine.
Right.
I appreciate the thought. I always appreciate the thought.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. 2025 was an absolutely crazy year for a lot of reasons, insanity, and Star Wars is no exception. So we got through an enormous amount of Star Wars. I think we're about to have a pretty big year this year, but we had a
Yeah.
big year last year too. And so how do we want to do this? Do we want to start with our television?
I think that was the
Yeah.
biggest thing this year was Star Wars TV. No movie. I think TV is always the next thing that I think of when it comes to like big Star Wars releases.
Projects.
Yeah.
Well, one of mine, one that you all might not remember, but was in fact part of 2025, was Skeleton Crew. So I am just an enormous Skeleton Crew fan. It was such a wave of, nostalgia, kind of the way that Stranger Things is a wave of nostalgia. Skeleton Crew just felt like 80s nostalgia. We're going on an adventure. And so the last 2 episodes of that show premiered in 2025. So the end of that show was 2025. And it was enormous fun. I know there were some bigger shows that came out beyond that, but that one just brought me so much joy.
It was very much like Goonies and Star Wars. It
Yeah.
had the acting was really good with the kids who
Yeah.
are always like shows with kids. Always people are like, well, how good is the acting gonna be?
It's
But
risky.
they were really
They were
good.
good.
And it's I've watched it again since it came out, and it's a lot of fun. And I hope those characters come back in some other way. I hope that that's not the end.
I think it was nice too that it was a like largely self-contained story. Like, I know it's like
Mm-hmm.
tangentially related to Mandalorian, but on the whole, it was like a self-contained story. And with
Yeah.
Star Wars being so like referential, like everything's tied to something, it was nice getting Skeleton Crew that was kind of its own beat.
Yep.
I have a feeling we're not going to get a season 2 on that one, but hopefully we'll see them in the Heir to the Empire or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposedly part of the
Mhm.
Mandoverse.
Right.
They haven't shown up in any books or anything yet, and that's usually a good sign that they're like they have something.
They're reserving them. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was another pretty big show that y'all might have forgotten about, and it was Young Jedi Adventure Season 3. The most important show. But this year, I actually watched all of Young Jedi Adventure. So I finished season 2 about 5 days before season 3 was coming. And I didn't even know it was coming because it was so quick and it was so under the radar. Young Jedi Adventure season 3 only had 7 episodes. So it was kind of a very quiet ending to that show. But it is a really, really fun show. Yes, it's for kids. And that I think should be like honored and rewarded because like Star Wars should be for anyone. There should be Star Wars for anyone. And so that it's for kids is really nice. But like I still got enjoyment out of it. I still was able to have some pieces of it that was really fun, really interesting. No, there's no huge lore drops, but there's little things here and there. You can always tell, oh, this is what the lesson's gonna be in this episode. But it gave me some like nostalgia vibes for watching Nick Jr. when I was a kid and watching Blue's Clues and shows like that. And so it was, it's a fun show. And I like that there's little nuggets to the High Republic and that connection, which also ended this year. And so, it's not the biggest show. It very much had what I would consider a sad, quiet ending, being a really short last season. But I encourage people to watch it. There's a lot more to it than you would expect if you just caught like a promo or the first couple episodes.
Was there a true finale to it?
There was, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like an epilogue that flashes forward to when the kids are now Padawans with their masters. Some of them have masters that were Padawans in the series. And then one of them, and I might talk about him a little bit later, one of them is Padawan to Bel Zettifar, one of the main characters from a lot of the High Republic books.
Okay.
And that was a really cool connection. Bel is in the show in a couple different episodes with Loden Greatstorm, and so seeing him now have his own Padawan was a lot of fun and a good, really strong tie-in to the High Republic ending.
That's nice. A lot of times kids shows just go out and the last episode is just another episode, and
Right.
it's nice that we got a good ending to it. That's good.
And it's nice that because this youngling's in the High Republic and not the Clone Wars, that like you don't have to worry about them.
Right. They
You can
live.
live a
They probably
nice,
have full
long life.
lives. Yes. Yeah. They have a happy ending.
Well, on an opposite note from a kids show, I wanted to bring home probably the biggest show of the year was Andor season 2. That was such a masterpiece of television. It was probably I would say it's probably the best piece of Star Wars ever put to screen. Like I feel pretty confident saying that. It definitely met the moment. I think the Mon Mothma's Senate speech is something that comes up. Like I see it online like every day even from like non-Star Wars accounts and things. And the show is just so beautifully done. The acting was next level. And I think it really Andor kind of filled the gap. We've not had Star Wars in theaters since 2019. And I think I've loved all the TV shows, like all the live action TV shows have been great. But I think that Andor was a really like cinematic experience. And like it really felt like the next level of Star Wars storytelling. And it was a really special treat this year.
The fact that Genevieve did not get an Emmy nom, no?
No.
I don't think she did. She definitely didn't win, but I'm pretty sure she didn't get the nomination.
I think very few Star Wars actors ever do.
Yeah,
I feel like people see Star Wars and they discount it. Like it's not quality. Like that Andor is a piece of quality, and I know some Star Wars is not quality cinemas, but
Yeah.
Andor was a piece of quality material.
I think if
Yeah.
it had been on HBO Max instead of Disney Plus, I
right.
think it would have gotten the attention it deserved.
Right.
But it's just gonna be one of those gems that people find in the future.
I know.
And it's
You know, ever since I heard about the people not having to watch the movies at the Academy Awards, those awards things they're just dumb. Anyway.
I think the one thing that really helped Andor a lot this year was like the presidential election and what's been going on. If it had been opposite, if Kamala Harris had been elected, it might not have hit the same way.
Yeah.
Even though they wrote it before the election and had filmed it before the election, like that moment and that writing hitting with this administration really brought it home. And it's
Way to
kind of
find a silver
incredible to
lining
think
there.
about how that happens. And it's like they didn't plan that, but it
No.
worked so much better on such a higher level, I think, because of that.
I think it really got the extra Star Wars, non-Star Wars fan attention that it wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
the only other show I wanted to mention really briefly was the Tales of the Underworld that came out this year.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, that was our May the 4th treat this
It
year.
was.
Hopefully, it's been become a very nice tradition to get those every year. And as a big Asajj Ventress fan, I really enjoyed that. This I would say of the three that we've gotten, this was probably the most unique of the three compared to Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire, because the Cad Bane story told one story over the course of many years, and then Ventress's was very much like a very quick story that took place over a week or two, whereas the other series were all kind of random episodes here and there over the course of a character's life. And I think it was kind of controversial, but I really enjoyed the change. But yeah, it was a good show.
Ventress has definitely felt like the pilot for a TV show they never made.
Yeah.
And
But
I'm
maybe
hoping
she'll
they
appear
will
in
make
Darth
it.
Maul.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
she'll.
Right.
I have a feeling we will see her in Darth Maul, actually.
yeah. I mean, because
We'll see.
we'll get into that when we do our
we'll get into that
Veggie
later.
Caster for next year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shall we dive into books? Any good books this year, guys?
Some of the best books.
Yeah.
For sure.
In fact, my favorite book of the year, or my favorite book pretty much ever of Star Wars.
Yeah. I'll start off by talking about the real highlight of the year, which was Mask of Fear, Reign of Empire, Mask of Fear. That was the Andor of Star Wars books. And it was not just in terms of content and being about characters that were both in Andor in the book, but also just the next level up of writing. It felt like a truly great political thriller, really kind of establishing three different ways that people resist oppression in a political arena, using the kind of the lead characters of Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera, who it's been really fun in the Disney era watching these three characters that were pretty minor. Bail was decently big, but not really. These three characters who were kind of minor become these characters that are front-running TV shows and books and everything. And this book really brought home why these characters are important. And it's the start of a trilogy, which is really exciting. And I can't wait for more of that.
Yeah, I think it's fall 2026. We get the next one.
Yeah, it'll be set 1 year before Andor season 1. So we'll really it's a big gap between Mask of Fear and the next one, but it'll bridge right into Andor.
Yeah.
Cool. What else did we read? That was the first book we ever read all together,
For a podcast,
actually.
that
But
was.
we've read a few others together this year too.
We did. Well, something I wanted to bring up was our young adult books. So we had two big, I think it was just two young adult books this year, right? We had The Crystal Crown and we had The Last Order.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay.
Outside of High
There's a
Republic, at
one.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I am not at all caught up on High Republic, so can't speak to that. Something that I liked these books, I feel like they brought a discussion piece here about expectations and what a book needs to be. These were both very personal stories. I think there were a lot of expectations for that the Last Order would be something that it wasn't. And so it's nice to have these smaller scale stories that don't have to be like Mask of Fear, where we're doing some big shit. And we just have nice personal stories between a couple of characters that we really enjoy. You know, Jecki and Yord, and then Finn and Janna. They're all characters that we love to see on TV, and it's just fun to get a little bit of extra behind the scenes. That's really where Star Wars books kind of started, was just fleshing out our characters. And then, you know, they kind of evolved into these big, in the 90s, these big event esque stories. But having these smaller stories is really nice to jump back into.
Yeah, and it's kind of those tie-in books are like the almost bread and butter, so to speak, of like Disney Star Wars books as well.
There,
right? That's
much
really, especially the first kind of 5 years of Disney Star Wars books, like they were mostly tie-ins to the movies and other characters, books like Phasma and Princess Leia, Princess of Alderaan, stuff like that. And then, you know, we've diverged from that somewhat. Obviously, the last 5 years, we'll talk about the High Republic, but then we still get these books in there, and I really like diving deep into a single character or two characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's nice too because both of those books in particular, one was a sequel trilogy tie-in, and one was a Acolyte tie-in, and those are things that don't get a lot of books, and so it was nice to get those.
I know, if you look at the shelves back here, my sequel section is just anemic.
It's gonna change. It's gonna change this year.
It's gonna change. I'm excited.
We're gonna be looking forward to our you know, we'll be talking about 2026 ahead in our next episode. But let's talk about what completely ended this year, which is the High Republic, or at least I say completely ended. There's gonna be some tie-ins and some comic series and phase more perhaps, but really the kind of coup de grace was the High Republic publishing initiative coming to an end this year. And we had several books, we had a lot of comics that came and brought all of this huge initiative to a conclusion, and it was great. Phase 3, sometimes it felt a little disjointed in terms of some of the releases and events and stuff like that, but I think the last two books, Into the Night and Trials of the Jedi, were just phenomenal. They really hit the landing for me. They are some of my favorite books for Star Wars of all time. And I think they couldn't have ended it better for me personally. That it was such a buildup. It was over so long, and it really did stick the landing. I know you guys haven't read those, so I'm telling you now.
Unfortunately,
I'm telling you now to do it.
So yeah, I'm looking
get
forward
into it to catch up, because now that it's over, you know where the end is. So
yeah, that's true.
You can have an end goal in mind. It's worth it, and especially if you're able to get, you know, mix between comics and the books and young adult. You know, the middle grade, I've read those as well, but you don't have to read them. But
that's really the thing. It just feels
I'm hoping for something more. I'm hoping for something else like this, and I actually think an episode we should do or talk about is like, if we had to pick 5 Star Wars authors to lead the next initiative, I think that'd be a fun one to talk about. Some of our favorite authors and what it would be like to give them a chance to do something like this, because it started with 5 authors, they brought in 5 others, and they really made something really special.
I think
it was successful, so it feels like they would continue to do that.
Yeah.
Once Austin and I get caught up, we need to do a retrospective too.
Sure.
On the High Republic. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing we can briefly mention is a couple of the other books. We read Sanctuary, which was actually one of my favorite books this year. It was, you know, one of those tie-in books to the Bad Batch, but it did such a good job. And we also had a couple Acolyte tie-in books. Austin mentioned Crystal Crown, but we also had the Acolyte Wayseeker, focusing on Vernestra Rwoh. And those were, you know, Sanctuary I really enjoyed. Wayseeker, I got through it. It wasn't my favorite, but it was interesting the way it was written as a third-person, first-person book. So I would still, if you like the Acolyte, I would read it. it's somewhat more tied to the High Republic Publishing Initiative, but I think they were still worth mentioning.
We also don't want to let go past talking about the Revenge of the Sith 25th or 20th anniversary
yeah.
edition.
Did you read that?
I did, yeah, and it was
Hmm.
I've been reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization since it came out. Basically, I got it maybe a year after the movie came out. There was like a book that had all 3 prequel novelizations in it.
Oh.
And I remember thinking it was excellent back then, and then I remember the Sky Talkers podcast talking about how great it was, and I went back and reread. I'm like, oh, this is literature, right? Like, this is good stuff. So,
How were the annotations?
really good, really good.
Yeah. They were all
Um,
by Matthew Stover.
Yes. So for those of you that aren't familiar, the Revenge of the Sith novelization has long been considered by the general like Star Wars fandom as like the best Star Wars book. And for the 20th anniversary this year, they released a deluxe edition that's like beautifully done, and it has annotations from the author Matthew Stover throughout, talking about like why he wrote things certain ways, things about his like conversations with George
Mhm.
Lucas about different character motivations, times where George Lucas, interceded and said, "Don't write it this way." There's one theme from the book that they actually do. Like, there's a chapter of annotation about it. It's like one metaphor that he uses. Like, they do like multiple pages about that metaphor and what that all meant. And so that was really cool. But highly recommend it. Even if you don't get the fancy deluxe edition, like read the original novel. It's great.
Why has Matthew Stover never done more? Like, why don't we see him do books right now? Because he's celebrated so much.
I think there is a reason, and I don't want to speak about it if I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure there was like a disagreement or something that would go. But I don't know that for a fact.
Cool. Yeah,
All right,
I
well-
have not read that one yet, but I did buy it because it was a beautiful, beautiful book.
It's a stunning book. Love that we have it in our collection.
Yeah,
Because when you get married to someone, you merge Star Wars collections.
of
And
course.
that's
And then
a
you give
beautiful, beautiful
your
thing.
friend, your third wheel,
Your
all the
extras.
extras.
Oh, the other
All the
ones,
extra
yeah.
copies.
Duplicates.
I wish that I had an extra copy of A New Dawn for you, Mike. I wish I did.
Yeah,
We're
that's
gonna get
okay.
you a copy one day.
Yeah. One other thing we'll just mention briefly our Star Wars comics. Obviously, that's a big part of kind of the High Republic Publishing Initiative, and those came to an end this year, and I like the conclusion there. And then there were a number of other series that started or kind of carried over into 2025 that have mostly not panned out for Star Wars, for Lucasfilm. The Star Wars 2025 comic run seems to be ending at 10, which is a very short compared to the other ones. The Legacy of Vader looks like it's going to be ending at 12, which is also fairly short for a Charles Soule run of comics. Dr. Aphra is running out, and Jedi Knights is going to be ending, which has again not panned out. And so comics for 2025 really felt very weak compared to what they had been previous to this. And I'm wondering if it's just the openness of post Return of the Jedi not being as intriguing, not being as interesting as in between the movies. Those were the series with Vader and the Star Wars mainline that were really running big series. And so I would love to see something between, a long run between episode 1 and episode 2 or something like that to fill in some of those gaps.
We've had such enormous runs between 4, 5, and 6 for such a short time period,
Right.
and then we have a 30-year time period after episode 6. There's space to do work there. Why aren't we able to
I
make?
think
that
they're
work?
leaving it open for Mandalorian
That's true,
and
that's
those stories. They don't want to fill that timeline because the shows are filling it.
Yeah, I feel like it's time for the comics to like get away from original trilogy.
It is. It is.
And
Come on.
I feel like, which I guess, maybe they don't sell well, but this is probably getting away from this subject of the day. But like, I don't know. I feel like they always do these little like prequel miniseries. But they've never done they haven't done, to my knowledge, a prequel like long run series since like the Clone Wars multimedia.
Let's bring
project
back
back
Star
in the
Wars
day.
Republic. Where is it?
Yeah, like I think it's just odd that they um, don't go into that, especially with like the prequels being so popular amongst like
Yeah.
the nerdy level of demographic of people that, like read comics.
The people who are buying
Um,
comics right now.
yeah, like I don't, it just seems odd. Like, I understand not wanting to do sequel stuff with like the post 9 world still kind of being defined and everything,
Right.
but yeah, episodes 1 to 2 seems like a pretty
It's
easy.
ripe because it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
it's not important enough to put a TV show in. I don't
Yeah,
see
right.
a world where that would ever happen.
There's
But,
never going to be
comics,
a
it's terrific.
young Anakin and Obi-Wan TV show. And
No,
there,
and I don't.
there
want
was a
that.
run. It was I think just a miniseries of
Obi-Wan and
Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Mm.
But there's so many, we can see all the times when Anakin saves Obi-Wan for the 8th time and 9th time and falling into a nest of Gondarks.
That business on Captain Nemoidia doesn't count.
So we'll see, we'll talk about some of the runs of comics coming forward in 2026 in our next episode, but let's move to our last kind of look back on 2026 and look at the big picture of our favorite personal moments for the last year. And for me, I have two. One is we together went to Dragon Con, and that was a ton of fun. I've never done a Comic Con or a convention like that. And from the start of our podcast, we were like, that was our goal. It's like, okay, we're going to go to Dragon Con. We're going to go and we're going to have fun. And we met so many wonderful people. We got to talk with so many people. We got to meet some of our favorite authors. We're going to go and we're going to have fun. And we met so many wonderful people. We got to talk with so many people. We got to meet some of our favorite authors. And immediately, like, I think even before we were done, we were like, okay, so we're signing up for next year, right?
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Like, that was some of my favorite parts, was meeting these awesome people, and we met some really lovely people in line. Who I still, we follow a few of them on social media, and I love them. Every time I see their name pop up, it's great.
Yep. Yeah, and then the other thing I was going to briefly mention is I've been on the 3D printing grind, and I'll bring up my Scout Trooper helmet again. I've already started trying to do some stuff in 2026, but this was probably my favorite. I mean, this was basically my year. I didn't really, it's a slow process. I'm a slow worker with it because I got a lot of other stuff going on. But this was a really, really fun thing to do this year. And so I'm looking forward to continuing to 3D print and do different things, because there's endless numbers of things out there. I've already started, as I showed the Austins earlier. I'm printing Gunji's lightsaber out of wood filament. So if you're watching on video, you can actually see that it's actually kind of looks like wood right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a nice creation from someone on Thingiverse, but printing it with actual wood filament so I can actually stain it with wood stain is going to be a lot of fun and something I've never done before.
So is the filament made of wood?
It has wood particles in there. Yes.
In this, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not so much for the look; it's like a feel thing.
Yeah, and it smell too. Like it smells a little bit like
that's
wood.
so cool.
Yeah. I did wood filament when I first started printing, and I did like a
Oh, that's cool.
little tiny Groot. I have a larger Groot at work on my desk, and yeah, it like has a little bit of a wood smell to it. It's kind of funny,
It's like a huff.
right? Yeah, yeah. I'll smell a vision you guys later.
There we
go.
What were your guys' personal kind of favorite Star Wars moments for 2025?
Well, you guys know I love a prop. One of the most beautiful moments of my year was going to Galaxy's Edge for the first time. So I went to Disney World a long, long time ago as a child, but I went again for the first time with Austin and another friend of ours. And we got to go to Savi's. Just seeing Galaxy's Edge for the first time, stepping into the world of Star Wars is so breathtaking. And there's a video. I think, did you get a video or a picture of me?
Both.
Both. Just stepping in for the first time, and the way that Disney crafts these lands, it's like it genuinely feels like you're part of Star Wars all of a sudden. And there's just something so magical about that. And I will always die inside that I never got to do the Galactic Star Cruiser. But even just getting to see Batuu in real life is amazing. And there's so much interactivity, even putting together a very expensive metal lightsaber. It's a whole show to it. It's a big thing, and it's just so real. And so that was really, really special. And Austin's been going for years, but it was my first time. So that this will always be a very special anniversary for us.
Because of your guys' experience there, I bumped up on my list both Phasma, but right now I'm reading Black Spire, and I'm
So good.
most of the way
You know what's
through,
that,
as you can see.
Oh, you're
I got probably less than 100 pages. So like all the things that you guys have talked about going and seeing there and experiencing, things like, oh, there's blue, milk stand. I was like, that's literally in the book. Like stuff like that has been really, really cool to read. So when it's my first time, I'll get to experience a lot of that stuff as well.
And I imagine we'll get to take you for the first time, right? You're not gonna go.
I hope so.
No, we're
No.
going. We're going whenever you go.
And whenever you go, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Galaxy's Edge was definitely a big highlight for me too. Obviously, at any time, taking anybody for the first time is really cool, but obviously taking Austin was like particularly special. And our other friend Reed, because it was his first time at Disney World, so that was really really fun. The individual Galaxy's Edge thing that was the best for me. Doing the lightsaber was really cool, but also building the droid. That was something I'd wanted to do for a long time, and I got to do that.
Do you have your little droid with you?
I can go grab her. She's right over here. My
Get
little CV-23 here. She's if you're not familiar, she's the droid from the Resistance TV show, and I got to build her, and so that was really cool. I really enjoyed the Resistance show, and she's my favorite character, so that's fun that you can do that there. That was a really fun experience. Another great experience, I got to see 2 Star Wars movies in theaters this year. Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
For the 20th anniversary. That was really cool. And then Austin and a group of my friends for just so happened to be on my 20th or my 30th birthday. We got to go to see the original Star Wars: A New Hope at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, which that was a really cool experience getting to see that on the big screen. So now I'm only missing Empire for movies I haven't seen in theaters. So that was cool.
What are you missing, Mike?
All of the original trilogy.
Okay.
I
You
think. I
didn't
don't
see
think I've
episode
seen-
6 when it was released like a year or two ago?
No, I don't.
I
think
didn't
I did.
either. I regret not
Yeah.
seeing it.
Living in a small town with
I
movie
know,
theater
it
that
makes
doesn't
it
have
hard.
many seats.
I know you were in
Uh,
even smaller town a few years ago.
yeah. I was. Yeah, in 2023, we were in a tiny town in rural Washington.
Yeah. Well, it was great. Hey, you missed it.
You missed out.
But anyway, so those are big highlights. But probably the biggest highlight, of course, was starting the podcast. That was just a really fun experience, getting to hang out with you guys and talk Star Wars every other week. This is, as we mentioned earlier, this has been like a great push to really engage with parts of Star Wars that I don't typically engage with. I read books I wouldn't have read. I probably wouldn't have watched the Lego special if we weren't doing the podcast. And so doing things like that has been really, really cool.
And I hope the people listening have also felt that way, that maybe they've read the books because we've talked about them, or they've joined us in watching different shows and stuff like that, and keeping that positive outlook, right? That's what we want to talk about, is like the fun parts of Star Wars, the things we like about Star Wars, and not dwell on the negatives and the hate and that kind of stuff is why we wanted to start it.
Just remember, you can have criticism without being a bitch. It's an important soundbite for me to put in there.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's been so special. I mean, you all are 2 of my best friends, and it's just so lovely to spend all this time with you and to have this thing. The 3 of us at the moment live so far away from each other, and soon I'll be moving with Austin, but it's nice to have this to connect us a little bit more. It's important to have things like this. So that's what the podcast is for. We love that y'all listen, but it's a big part of it is just for the 3 of us to spend time together. It's really nice.
Yeah. And we're gonna keep it going.
Absolutely. I have been having so much fun and love being pushed to do things I wouldn't normally do.
So so as we always say, if there's something that you guys want us to talk about, if you're interested in kind of influencing where we're going as a podcast. We have ideas. We always have new books and shows, and we're going to have a movie next year. We're going to talk a lot about that in our next episode. But if there's things that you want us to talk about, let us know. You can always hit us up on Instagram or on TikTok and Blue Sky, on YouTube, any of those places, because we want to talk about what people are enjoying about Star Wars. We can always, pick up something new that we've never done, go back and read something that's older that maybe didn't get as much love as it should have.
Absolutely.
And so, we're going to be doing some of that this year, as well as talk about all the new stuff that's coming out, because there's a lot of new stuff coming out.
Absolutely. And if you ever want to see us, do more like unboxing videos or show you physical things, between all of us, we have pretty much everything. So, we're happy to show you anything you want to see. If you want to see a video of it too, just let us know.
Cool. Well, yeah.
right.
So next episode, we're going to talk about looking forward to 2026, a
It's going to be good.
movie, a TV show, live action show, books, comics, all of that stuff, maybe a video game or two. So we'll be talking about all of that stuff in our next episode. But for this episode and for 2025, I think this is where we're going to say that this is the Rogue 3 podcast, and we are signing off on 2025. Thanks, everyone, for joining us to talk about the galaxy far, far away. You can find us on Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, and TikTok as Rogue 3 Media. We look forward to talking with you at the next rendezvous point.